although it is presented as a science, but it is basically an ideology or ideological discourse. Ideology which justifies capitalism. So the role of economics in the dominated society is to justify capitalist policies, which are by definition imperialist policies in the context of the third world. So most third world economists, including Islamic economists, are propagandists for capitalism, and in the context of third world, capitalism means imperialism. Capitalism is the highest stage of imperialism, as Lenin said. So economic policy. So what the economists mostly agitate against in the third world are economic policies which are aimed at national self-determination, and they criticize those policies in the name of a science called economics. But economics is in essence an ideological tool of capitalism, and in the context of the third world, this ideological tool, its main function is to deny economic policies which will lead to national self-determination, because those policies are against the interests of global capitalism. National self-determination today is, it wasn't that much to that extent in, for example, in 70s or 60s, but today, 70s and not the 80s, I guess. But today, national independent economic policies geared toward national self-determination are against the interests of global capitalism. Similarly, political science, the function of political science is and social sciences in general, political science, the purpose of political science political science is also an ideology. Its function within mainstream capitalism, within capitalist society, developed capitalist society, is to justify and provide intellectual justification for capitalist democracy or constitutionalist democracy, and to provide arguments against popular democracy, for example, or any form of non-capitalist democracy, for example. The function of political science in third world country, on the other hand, is to provide pseudo justifications and propaganda, intellectual propaganda, against any political ideology which can stand against the hegemony of global capitalism. So in this context, truly nationalist movement, the movement today, aiming for determination, and obviously Islamic movements, or Islam is targeted precisely for this reason, because Islam is against capitalism, and Islam can lead to a political organization which aims at an independent existence against capitalism. So it can provide the basis for self-determination and emancipation from the hegemony of global capitalism. And the last but not least, the science which is important in this regard, science or ideology, is sociology. Sociology, the science specifically, whose aim is to provide justification for a capitalist society. And in the third world, its purpose is to envisage strategies and launch movements and provide arguments for turning those societies into full-fledged capitalist society. So one of the method for this is, negatively what it needs is to destroy and disintegrate a traditional social institution. For example, family, because without the destruction of family, you can't have a full-fledged traditional family. You can't have a full-fledged capitalism in any society. You can't make a society into a capitalist society. That's why one of the main tools for that is feminism and NGO movements. The purpose of these social movements is to turn non-capitalist societies into capitalist society through initially the destruction of traditional social institutions, and then providing propaganda for, and human rights is one of the another tool through which this is done. Feminism, human rights, NGOs, and all that. And these social scientists, so-called, they provide ideological justification for these movements: human rights movement, feminism, NGOs, etc. And also they wage war against any forces and institutions which are in the way of making a society into a capitalist society. For example, against mosque, against madrasa, against ulama, against Islam, because this is, for example, in Islamic countries, this is a great entrance towards the full-fledged social disintegration of the traditional society and the emergence of capitalist civil non-society or civil society. And so in this sense, this is the function of these economists. So economists, political scientists, political science, and sociology, they are the tools, intellectual tools, for the disintegration of the non-capitalist society and for the establishment of the capitalist society, and provide justification for imperialist policies within dominated societies. And as you will see, all these authors are either economists or political scientists or sociologists. Okay.